Yo, it's Joe, and welcome to another video. Today we're going to be checking out Beyond the Table Chapter 2, The Adventure Begins Critical Role Docuseries. I saw part 1. If you're new here, you could check that out on my channel as well, but I want to get into the second part, especially since I'm watching the first campaign, so it's nice to get a little bit of a backstory here. But without further ado, kick your feet up, relax, and let me see what we got going on. Let's check out this bad boy.
Welcome back to this Critical Role documentary series where we dive into the history of Critical Role and explore how they became a multi-million-dollar
I
company.
reacted to that,
Last
yep.
episode, we discussed the formation of their home
When they
game
went on
and how they all
Smosh.
met and started playing together as a group. So, if you missed that, make sure to go check it out. Today, we will be discussing the beginnings of Critical Role as a company and stream D&D show. I will be discussing up until the end of their first campaign, including all major events that happened with the group and the show. I will not be going into too much detail about the actual story of their campaign. I will instead be
I like
focused on
that.
external events that happened as a result.
I appreciate that. Not that I think this person would spoil anything, but at least now I know that there's not going to be anything having to do with spoilers in this. Is that it's an, it's a, it's a dragon. It's an origami dragon, I think. Is it made out of tissue or, no, that's paper? I don't know. That's cool though.
Result of their campaign. There may be a potential for a completely different series talking about the story of the campaign itself if there is enough interest for it, but that is something that others have done as well and not what I'm trying to focus on for this series. However, I
Okay.
may be mentioning some events that do happen in the campaign here and there casually, so this is your spoiler warning now. I
Oh,
also want to thank everyone for their support again. I wanted
that's
to
all
do
right.
this
We're in
project
there.
a little
We'll check it
ambitiously, and
out.
I appreciate that the community has backed me up. I do also have a Patreon, and if you would like to help support the
Check out his
channel and help me
Patreon,
devote more time
guys.
to the series and projects
These
like
are
this one, you
very
can
well
head to
done
my
so
Patreon
far.
to do that. And I'd like to give a personal thank you to my first 4 patrons, Carl Perron, Aaron, Erica Guinness, and Abimanyu Shondell. Thank you so much for your support.
Hmm.
Okay, and with that, let's jump into it.
Let's do
Chapter
it.
2 of Beyond the Table. Critical Role had agreed at the start to 6 recorded sessions of their game on Geek and Sundry's Twitch stream, and
Mm-hmm.
would reevaluate afterwards to assess if it was worth continuing. And on March 12th, 2015, they had their first stream. And it was,
Mm-hmm.
well, it was kind of rough.
Kind of rough, he says. Kind of rough? Nah, this shit was rough. Especially like the beginning with everything was not the audio issues. I'm sure he's gonna get into it, but yeah, it was rough.
So, just to give you a little heads up.
Yeah, you can hear it there. The first episode is public for you guys if you well, the first part of my reaction to the first episode is public to you guys if you're new. If you want to check it out on the channel, the rest of it is patrons only. But I am reacting to campaign 2 publicly for all you guys as well. For those of you guys who'd like to get the perspective of somebody who got into this from watching the show on the TV show. So yeah, I haven't been following them for too long, but this is helping me learn things. But yeah, if you're interested, check it out.
We are playing the 5th edition of Dungeons and Dragons. We recently
It was full of technical issues,
Oh
low
yeah,
quality sound, and a small studio setup.
I
But
enjoyed it
despite
though.
these flaws with their first stream, there was still something about it, something electrifying.
I fly away.
These nerdy voice actors had spirit, talent, and enthusiasm. Matthew led them with such creativity, and they all engaged immediately in the game.
Mm-hmm.
Even though they had
Yeah, that's one thing that I gotta always give to Matt is like his ability as a DM is just unmatched from what I've seen, and like so many people try to emulate it or um you know pick up on things that he does, which is great. But I always wondered like if his style of DMing was a popular thing prior to him becoming more well known with streaming these campaigns, or if his style of like really acting everything out and being super descriptive became popular after he started streaming and their campaign started I guess getting its legs, so to speak.
many issues that they had to figure out when it came to streaming. The show was an instant hit. We were also able to see the group's true character very early on, as they established that they would be raising donations for the charity A26LA,
Also, half of our donations will go to charity for the 826 charity immersion.
which helps children with after-school education, specifically in the creativity and art department. Within the first
Dope.
15 minutes of their episode, they voiced their support for the charity, which they would
15,000?
support for the years to come. The group had also created a short intro video to familiarize the audience with the characters they would be playing. In this video that Matthew had put together,
Yeah, I have to see this, by the way, because I remember you guys saying that I can view this with the pictures unblurred on a separate video, right? So I gotta check that out too. It'll just help me, help me better appreciate it, because when I reacted to the first episode, they have it blurred out on the Geek and Sundry channel at this point.
each player had a voiceover describing who their character was, with fan art done by Kit Bush and other various artists accompanying their
The
introduction.
fan art was great.
Unfortunately,
Wow.
because some of the art was used in the video without permission, coupled with the fact that the Twitch border covered some of the artist's credits, the intro was later blurred
Oh,
when
I see.
uploaded to YouTube to avoid copyright infringement. Despite this, the
I
group
didn't even
still
think
made
about
an
that.
impact, receiving hundreds of comments throughout their live stream.
I mean, yeah,
People were
dude, their
amazed at
support
the
was
skill
there.
and joy this group had when it came to their D&D game, and very quickly it was clear that this show was here to stay. The group began working on some fundamentals immediately, including establishing the company of Critical Role officially. Critical Role Productions LLC was incorporated on May 6, 2015,
Oh,
allowing
wow.
the group to own and keep the intellectual property for their game and company, while still streaming and advertising to
Let me see
own
that again. Wow, okay. This is really cool to see like a really early cosplay of what their characters would have looked like. Definitely not what they ended up looking like, as the finished product. Like, you have Liam over there as Vax with the ears, he's got the cloak. Same thing with Laura, she's got the bow and some form of archery. But seeing Taliesin in all black, I mean Taliesin in all black makes sense, but Taliesin as Percy in all black, I don't know. Well, nah, Percy was pretty emo. He kind of is kind of emo. Um, never mind. But yeah, this is cool. I like these early concepts of like them cosplaying for their characters. This is dope. I like Keyleth. I like how Pike looks over there. This is dope.
and keep the intellectual property for their game and company, while still streaming and advertising through Geek and Sundry. As far as production goes, on April 16th we got our first look at their new intro, which also introduced their
Oh,
infamous
I didn't see that yet. I wonder if that's still available on YouTube. I want to check that one out.
logo, created and designed by Taliesin Jaffe. The intro was
Oh, Taliesin designed that? Oh, he's nice. That's a beautifully designed logo, man. It's simple, but it's to the point. As someone who enjoys things like this, I can appreciate that.
created and edited by Zach Eubank, Geek and Sundry's and designed by Taliesin Jaffe. The intro was created and edited by Zach Eubank,
Okay.
Geek and Sundry's Twitch producer. Its mixing and sound effects were done by Alex Neat, and their iconic theme song was made by Jason Charles Miller, a successful musician and fellow voice actor.
Yep. Oh yeah, that is
The
cool.
following week, on April 23rd, the group released their first item of apparel. It was a shirt that listed all of the characters' names along with Matthew's and Laura's character's pet bear, Trinket. This shirt was designed by a fan of the show, at Rusgafti, and sent to the cast. They loved it and decided to launch it as official
Yeah, that's
merch.
awesome.
They did a test run during this session and put 100 shirts up for sale. These shirts were sold within minutes before they were even done talking about them, and the cast
Yeah,
reaction
the 100 shirts thing, man. They should have had way more on standby. Like, I don't know if they. I feel like they should have known though at that time how popular they were even then. You know, you can even see all these people that are commenting in the live chat and everything. Like, they must have had so many followers at the time, and for them to only have 100 shirts at the ready was a little weird. But I mean, I guess they did say it was a test run, so I guess they were, testing the waters. But I would have had at least like three, 400.
is priceless.
They're sold out? The t-shirts are
Wait.
sold
Yep.
out?
We didn't even finish telling you people.
It was made very clear at this point that there was a great interest for merch, and the cast began working to make it happen. They re-released these shirts 2 weeks later in gray with
Mm-hmm.
1,000 in stock, and they were sold out within a week. Now, Critical Role has released hundreds of merch items over the years, so
Mm-hmm.
I'm not going to spend a lot of time
Which
on
I
each
need some of
release,
that.
but this first merch release was such a big deal that it is important to mention when talking about the state and growth of the show. However, when applicable, I will mention other merch releases that are pertinent to the story. It is also important to note that the group launched their website at this time as well, which featured a cast list, episode links, and a merchandise store. Critical Role's fan base became extremely devoted and supportive to the cast and crew. Besides selling out their merch multiple times, they were also a huge help to the start of the show. Fans would send in food to the cast, pay for equipment, create amazing fan art, and send personalized gifts to the cast. The group of fans officially got their title of Critters at the end of the cast Q&A on May 14th.
Oh,
This was
that's
from
awesome.
a combination
Okay.
of Liam suggesting the name to the group and the fans also wanting to dub themselves as such.
So you guys have
They've heard
officially
you now.
dubbed yourselves critters,
Your critters.
and by
now.
yourselves,
Critters.
we mean by Liam.
From
That's
this
not,
point
okay.
on,
So
they were
Liam made
always
it.
referred to as Critters.
Ooh, look at all these cosplays, dude. Whole bunch of Scanlins, whole bunch of jesters. I see some uh Knots, Percy's, Vexes, Vaxes. Da, 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 da. Wow. Wow. Keyleth, I see there in the center. Bo. Damn, yo, you guys go hard with your cosplays. These are so cool.
Another key player in the success of Critical
Weapons
Role
and
was
all.
Felicia
That's
Day.
crazy.
Felicia had confidence that this group was going to be successful from the beginning, and did everything in her power to make sure it happened. Even after she no longer owned Geek and Sundry, she worked to make sure Critical Role succeeded.
And so I was like, well, I want to watch this. Everybody needs to watch it.
I
And I was
gotta
like,
check
just
out
put
her
all
between the
the resources
sheets.
behind this team.
Critical Role's popularity continued to increase. On May 28th, they ran a one-shot due to several cast members being absent, where they gave some tips and tricks about running a D&D game. On June 25th, they released their second t-shirt with art from Matt Abernathy of each player's character on it. On July 9th, the group, excluding Sam, spoke on a panel at San Diego's Comic-Con. It is at this event that we also hear a fan question asked by a fan and friend of the show, Danny Carr, who eventually goes on to be a part of the crew of the show.
Our friend Danny, who's a critter. Hi, Danny.
Oh man, hi.
From
Hi,
July to
Daddy, it says in the
August, Critical Role had
captions.
4 episodes in a row where they had guest stars come on the show, including Will Wheaton, Felicia Day,
Oh, wow.
Will Friedle, and Mary Elizabeth McGlenn. All of these guest stars were successful professionals in their own right and had connections to Geek and Sundry and the group, which was just adding to the excitement and energy to the show, displaying the attention it was getting from other influences as well. In July, the group also released a shirt to celebrate hashtag 5K and a bear, in which a fan promised that if the channel got 5,000 subscriptions, they would send Laura a giant bear in honor of Trinket, her character's pet bear.
Aw.
Suffice to say, the goal was met, and a promise was kept.
Oh,
Things were
that's
looking up for
awesome.
Critical Role, and their momentum seemed unstoppable. The show was fun and enjoyable, guest stars were making appearances, and fans were satisfied. Until October of 2015, when, within the group, there began to be some tension with one of their players,
Yeah.
Orion. Over the course
Yep,
of
yep,
several episodes, he had begun to get on the nerves of many of the cast members in a handful of ways. He would take away from the other group members' epic moments.
I cast telekinesis to swoop it up. Just to help guide it.
Oh, let me just see if I got it first.
And he would spend a lot of time alone shopping
see.
or running errands, excluding the rest of the group and forcing them to just sit and wait.
How about you get nothing else and we move on?
Last thing that I do.
No last thing.
Orion would consistently fall into examples of metagaming and cheating
Uh-oh.
to enhance the capabilities of his character, and he would challenge Matthew on what was considered canon in the story, trying to force relationships with NPCs that Matt had created.
Seriously, Matthew? Come on.
It even got to the point where he would make inappropriate comments and crude jokes that made everyone at the table uncomfortable.
Yes, because you said it out loud. So.
Anyway.
Now, whether Orion's actions were intentional or
Man, so I just started the verse campaign. I haven't gotten to any of this yet, but I can already sense that I'm not gonna have a good time. I'm excited to see it, but I'm not excited to see it. Because I'm gonna see it. I'm gonna force myself to see it and see what, the whole thing, warts and all, but that's gonna be crazy.
not, it became an issue regardless. For the sake of brevity, and because this can be a very long and complicated topic,
Like over here, right? Like you can just tell how frustrated Travis is.
comments and crude jokes that made everyone at the table is that
Was it
challenge fall
here?
into examples of metagaming and cheating.
No last thing.
And you could see like Laura tries to like, come on, like leave it alone, and she's like, come on, like giving them that look. But Travis is like very upset. I think
We move on.
Last thing, they do.
No last thing.
they all seem kind of frustrated though, I think.
Ryan would consistently fall into examples of metagaming and cheating to enhance the capabilities of his character, and he would challenge Matthew on what was considered canon in the story, trying
That's
to force
insane.
relationships with NPCs that Matt had created.
And that I've heard about. Where he tried to doesn't he like try to get with the what's her name? Alora, right? Tries to like get with Alora and Matt kind of didn't make it a thing, right? Something like that.
By
Fantastic video by Super Geek Mike, which I also reacted to if you want to check out my reaction to it, which is why I kind of have a little bit of an understanding of what JR is talking about here.
Super Critical Role.
So is the content that he made regarding Tiberius canon to the story, or is it just his own spin-off thing that he does?
From here on out, you can see the tension dissolve, and the group goes back to its upbeat and silly style. And just 2 episodes after this incident leads into a Halloween episode where everyone dressed up as characters and played the game.
Look at Sam with, oh man, Travis. I was gonna say look at Sam with his mustache, but Travis, that's beautiful, man. I love it. Love it.
The steak was well done.
And I also don't want to skip over Matt's Geralt cosplay, because that is really good. Does he have the contacts to match too? Yeah, look at his contacts. See, he went all in.
And played the game.
That steak was well done.
That was so CSI Miami.
It was fun, it was comfortable, and it was a breath of fresh air after the friction that had been present for the previous several weeks, if not months before. During this Halloween episode, they announced a product sponsor, the first of many on the show, Wormwood Gaming, who made the whole cast custom dice trays to use. Having this product sponsor just demonstrates the rate that the show was growing, but this wasn't their only big accomplishment. October also featured their first celebrity D&D game, where Matthew ran a one-shot with Vin Diesel as a promotional piece for his upcoming movie, The Last Witch Hunter.
I gotta
Laura
check
and
that out.
Travis also accompanied Matt, playing their Vox Machina characters in the one-shot as well.
Oh.
With the combination of sponsors, guest stars, and celebrity appearances, it was clear Critical Role was spreading. By the end of the year, they were averaging thousands of viewers each week. The show had started to set up a regular program at this point, with an intro from Matt that went along the lines of,
Hello everyone, and welcome to tonight's episode of Critical Role, where a bunch of us nerdy-ass voice actors sit around and play Dungeons & Dragons.
and starting from episode 23, Matt began using their staple sign-off,
Is it Thursday
Is it
yet?
Thursday? Yep. Is it
which
Thursday?
was
Yeah.
originally coined by the earlier mentioned Danny Carr, eventually becoming a classic phrase in the community.
And the person who, if you didn't know, originated the term, is it Thursday yet?
And so many other phrases and jokes developed by the group, like Travis's
I would like to rage.
Liam's,
I love the
and
rage.
Matthew's, how do you want to do this?
For the people at home, we live to hear Matt say,
How do you want to do this?
And as 2015 came to a close, the group put out their first official comic series, Critical Role
That's
Winter's
cool.
Crest Festival comic. This was a 6-set comic series written by Marisha and Taliesin with art from Wendy Sullivan Green, telling some pre-streaming stories of the group. The group also started doing Christmas in November and December,
Oh,
where they
those
would open
pillows.
hundreds of gifts given to them by fans. The group was blown away with the gifts they received and their fans' love and support. And with this energy and excitement, we enter 2016. The year starts off with the release of The Story of Vox Machina, a short narrated video telling
Let's
the origin
go.
of Vox Machina with art done by Wendy Sullivan Green. It was a great way to give true context to the characters from before we met them in the campaign. And the momentum doesn't stop, so I'm going to try to get through this at a reasonable pace. In February, the group had a panel and Q&A at Wizard World Gaming in Portland, following the next week with a special Q&A and their first Battle Royale stream since many of the party members were sick. Then
The hell is a battle royale stream?
in April, the group had a special sponsored Pathfinder one-shot. And following
Then I don't recognize the other two, but that's Ashley Birch right there.
That was their 50th episode celebration, where they released their new intro sequence, where they all dressed as
I've
their
reacted
characters
to
and then
this. If you
extended
want to
and
check it
remastered
out,
version of the
dope.
original theme song.
Yep, really cool.
This new intro had a pretty large production team compared to the first, to which the group credited at the start of this episode. At this point in time, Critical Role had gone from a small-time stream idea to a fully fledged show. When tuning into their episodes,
I love the keyless crown there that Marisha's wearing. Well, it's not really her crown, but you know what I'm trying to say. I like that. I also like how Ashley has the white hair, the wig on.
Critical Role had gone from a small-time stream idea to a fully fledged show. When tuning into their episodes, you could expect a hilarious and creative ad segment from Sam.
Well, that's not as good.
Mm-hmm.
An update on any merchandise they were
Sam's
selling
ads,
from Laura.
man.
Plus, charity and content announcements, all within the first few minutes, before they jumped right back into the story where they left off. It was non-stop entertainment, even with the announcements. For the next several months, it seemed the group always had something going on. But some of their larger events was their second Q&A in Battle Royale in May, and a Deadland RPG one-shot in June during Geek and Sundry's 24-hour stream for the MDA charity, with the group even selling a charity-specific shirt. The group also had a Lovecraftian horror one-shot, where for the first time Liam DM'd for the members of Critical Role in June, called Liam's Quest.
And welcome to tonight's episode of Critical Role.
I'd check that out as long as it's not too spoiler heavy.
And Critical Role had an E3 interview with GameSpot. In July, the party returned to the San Diego Comic-Con as part of the Camp Carnival 2016 event that Nerdist and Geek and Sundry put on, hosting both a dating game and a Q&A panel. They also did an interview with Loot Crate at this Comic-Con, which was a longtime sponsor of the show as well. Interviews on different shows became more and more common for this group as people became more and more curious about what made this group so viral. Aside from the interviews and conventions, something else big happened in July of 2016. Critical Role had their first live audience game in Indianapolis, Indiana, where critters could come and watch their game live in a theater, which was also streamed to the rest of the world.
Look at how many people were there too.
House of Whitestone and Grand Mistress of the Grey Hunt.
It was a great demonstration of the growth of the community, as a full theater of fans came to watch this group of nerdy voice actors play Dungeons and Dragons. And the group followed this up shortly in August with their second live show, also performed in Indianapolis, Indiana.
Oh boy.
Oh my god, look at all those people.
Following these events, the group had some time to recuperate, and the next big event was another one-shot with Liam DMing for the group in September.
I'm Obi the Rat. You know why they call me that? Because I hate haiku.
Oh, nice. I was wondering why he was speaking like
major
that.
accomplishment, the start of their second show, Talks Machina, hosted by Brian W. Foster. Now, I have to interject here for a second.
Yeah, you sure do.
I understand that there is recent allegations and a lot happening right now in the critical community when it comes to Brian. However, I am not here to comment on that. I am focused on the history and reflection of the events that got the company where they are today.
Yes,
With
sir.
that being said, my heart and prayers go out to those involved in the recent situation, and I hope for a safe and positive outcome for everyone. So,
100%
with that,
agree.
Talks Machina. Critical Role's second ever official show was where members of the cast gathered together to talk about their recent game sessions and do a Q&A, giving fans opportunities to reach out to the group and possibly get a response. It was like a companion piece to the actual campaign, airing weekly on Tuesdays. This show received a lot of positive feedback, since it allowed the fans to show off their artwork, cosplay, win prizes, and get answers to their questions. Talks Machina was a clear success and became a staple to Critical Role's programming for years to come.
I can say that that legitimately was probably a miscommunication, and I thought that was the intent. And
And this brings us to the end of 2016, a year full of growth, conventions, talk shows, set improvements, sponsorships, and even a Streamy Award nomination.
Nice.
So much was accomplished that after the group had officially completed 79 episodes of the show, they took a month off to enjoy their
79
holidays and got ready to
episodes.
start back up in 2017.
And we'll see in the new year.
Is it
Is it 2017 yet?
We are now approaching the end of Critical Role's first campaign, and as a company, not much more happened, especially at the beginning of the year. But big things were in the works for the end of the year. But before we get to that, One addition at the start of the year that has made a defining impact on some of their content was the official addition of Danny Carr to the crew.
Mm-hmm.
She moved to LA in January of 2017 and shortly after got in contact with Marisha and Taliesin, who received her resume after hearing some of her skills and offered her a job as production coordinator at Geek and Sundry. Danny had been involved with the group on and off from the beginning, winning a giveaway in episode 7 and having her questions presented at panels, and coining the phrase, "Is it Thursday yet?" So it was great to finally add her to the team, and she became a producer of their talk show Talks Machina with Brian. Smaller events still happened throughout the year, even if it was comparatively calmer to the year previous. On April 1st of 2017, the group had a live Talks Machina show at WonderCon. Liam once again DMs for the group on April 20th to conclude the story he had been building. The group had a level 17 battle royale on May 25th with their current characters.
What is a Yeah, gotta explain to me what a battle royale is.
Another
Is it what it sounds like? Do they have their characters go against each other? Is that what that is? My money's on Grog.
live Talks Machina was held at the San Diego Comic-Con in July, and a one-shot DM'd for the first time ever by Sam occurred in August. However, it was at this time that Critical Role started making some big moves, and we got to see finally what the cast had been working on throughout the year.
Ooh-wee.
In August, Critical Role had their last live show of their first campaign in Indianapolis once again, at Gen Con 2017, for their 109th episode of the show.
I thought maybe we could prank Scanlan together.
Oh boy. Look at Sam's face. There you go. There you go.
Another huge announcement was the release of their first comic book series with Dark Horse Comics, Critical Role Vox Machina Origins. Series 1 was released in 6 issues, with their first issue coming out in September of 2017, finishing in April of the following year. The last major announcement was that the group was releasing their first D&D campaign guide, Critical Role Tal'Dorei Campaign Setting, written by Matthew with help from James Hayek. These were huge accomplishments for the group, as they started to create official content for the critters to read through and enjoy, allowing them to dive deeper into the characters and world that Critical Role had developed so beautifully. October 12th, 2017. Episode 115, the final episode of Critical Role's first campaign.
Nice.
5 years in the making, between a home game, a Twitch stream, Pathfinder, D&D 4th and 5th edition, all to create one complete story. There were interviews done of the cast members in reflection of the campaign. There were moments in memory shared throughout the day, and there were tears.
Of course there's gonna be, man. I mean, this is years of hard work, and they saw it all the way to the end for this first campaign. Something they never thought was gonna get this big. And plus you grow attached to the story, the characters, and yeah, man, it's an emotional time. It's mainly joy though. It's tears of joy, honestly. A little bit of sadness in there, but it's tears of joy though.
Moments in memory shared throughout the day, and there were tears. Many tears. This episode brought an end to the group Vox Machina, as thousands of people watched this chapter close. It was somber, it was emotional, and it was beautiful.
Love you guys.
Love you. Love you.
Aw.
Love, 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 love.
Have a wonderful night. Rest well. And
Is it Thursday yet?
it's Thursday yet.
The rest of the year was very relaxed. There were several one-shots during this time, including a 2-part Lord of the Rings one-shot sponsored by Warner Brothers Games for their new game Shadow
Oh, nice.
War.
Okay.
Matthew also got to take a break from running the game, and the group took turns running one-shots. The group did a 2-part vampire one-shot, DM'd for the first time by Taliesin, a one-shot ran by Travis for the first time, Rusha's bear-themed one-shot, another one-shot from Sam with a fairy tale theme,
Nice.
a Kobold one-shot headed by the return of Matthew in the DM chair, and finally, a max-level battle royale between Grog, Keyleth, Percy, Scanlan, and Vax.
Ooh, so that is
And
what
with
that was.
We make it to the end of the year. The cast released an art book filled with fan art in November of 2017, called The Chronicles of Exandria Volume 1, The Tale of Vox Machina, published by Hunter's Books, and in December, they had their last Talks Machina episode on Campaign 1. It was a full campaign wrap-up, where the group got to ask each other questions and learn more about topics they were always curious about. We got to hear great stories and reflect on the journey of Vox Machina with the cast.
Cows.
And even some of the guest stars that appeared throughout the campaign. This was a very heartwarming and personal way to end this chapter.
I'm so proud and so happy to have been part of this with you guys. And we get to make a new one soon.
Mm-hmm. Yes,
But
sir.
you know what they say,
Mighty Nine.
when one door closes, another one opens. But that is a discussion for another video. Thank you so much for making it through this chapter. I hope you enjoyed it, and please,
Thank you
if
for
you
your
have
hard
any
work
corrections or
making these
additions for me,
videos.
let me know. There's a lot of information to get through, and I'm bound to miss events somewhere. So I will take whatever information you give me and touch it up, and when I have my final documentary released, I'll make sure all the facts are as correct as I can make them. For me personally, I had only played one game of D&D before watching this show, and I was still hooked, not even knowing much about what was actually going on. That's how great they interacted and told their story. But I fell for D&D mainly because of watching them play. And Campaign 1 will always hold a special place in my heart, and I will always be a little biased towards it since it was my first experience with the group. My next episode will discuss events during their second campaign, from 2018 to 2021. This next episode has a lot to cover, and a ton of stuff happened for Critical Role during these years, so bear with me as I work on it. I will try to get it out as soon as I can. You can also help support me through my Patreon, or you can just offer a one-time donation if you feel so inclined. And last but not least, I do have a Discord if you would like to discuss anything with me or just be a part of a really small community that loves stories, D&D, and Critical Role. All the links will be in the description. Thank you again, and I hope you enjoyed, and I will see you in the next one.
Imagine if he said,
Welcome back
"Is
to
it?"
this
Oh,
Critical Role
start again. Imagine if he was like, "Oh, is it? Is it Thursday yet?" But yeah, man, that was dope. I'm about to get into my thoughts. If you made it this far, though, I do want to say thank you. Maybe leave a like, leave feedback. Let me know what you guys thought. And yeah, check out the Patreon. But if you're interested in my thoughts, here we go. Uh, like I said, it was really nice to see this, and the last video was very informative too. And I like the way that this is presented. It's very objective. It's very concise at giving you different things that happen for somebody like me who doesn't know. And he did a great job at like steering away from like spoilers and stuff like that, which I'm not the biggest fan of. Um, so I thought this was great. And I had a bit of an idea of like certain things that he talks about um, regarding like the whole Talks Machina thing and Danny becoming part of this crew. Um, but like the little intricacies that were involved with taking this group from step one all the way to the end to that final episode. There were a lot of things that I did not know. I didn't know about the one shots or the battle royales, and just like the different people that not only the different people that kind of lended their talents to making this as successful as it was, but the certain things that these people did or the certain things that were done. It's just all around just a great series so far, and yeah, I'm very very excited to see campaign one now. I think it's going to be great. So I'm enjoying it a lot so far. I just got done with the first episode, and if I've got 115 to go, it's a lot of episodes, man. But I'm gonna try to stick with it. And the show's coming, the Mighty Nine TV show's coming out, which is great. I'm sure next year we're gonna get Vox Machina season 3 coming out, so I can't wait to see that. But like, all these things regarding campaign one, regarding these characters from the first campaign, and regarding the Critical Role members here, and just seeing them at the table and seeing how they bounce off each other and what happens. Like, I'm excited to see all these different things that like I missed. But like I said, all in all, it's great. And when I see videos like this, I feel nothing but like happiness for the whole crew because of how hard they worked. It's not easy to dedicate hours upon hours and to clear your schedule, especially earlier on at the time when they weren't, too sure where it was going to go, to dedicate hours out of a day and like set the schedule to where, majority of the time you're not missing a campaign, you're not campaign, you're not missing an episode. Um, it's a lot of hard work having the crew in the background to be able to, make sure that anything technical is resolved. Technical problems are resolved quickly. You have cameras, you have the set, creating the set, getting all of these guest people on, attending all these interviews. Like it's so much hard work. And you bet like at the end of it, when it was all said and done at the end of this first campaign, yeah, you bet they were gonna be emotional because it's like all that hard work paid off. So yeah, man, nothing but happiness for these guys, and it always gets me in a good mood you know, to see them so happy and to see all their hard work pay off. Um, but anyways, those are all my thoughts. Uh, like I said, do all the good things, and hopefully you guys stay safe. Let me know what you guys thought. Have a good morning, afternoon, or night. Check out JR. Check out his channel. Check out this video. Check out his Patreon. Check out my Patreon. And yeah, I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.